atmosphere around here. We're all getting along like for once in a long time. Like the West is getting along with Quebec, right, with the East, right. We're all one big happy family here. So that's like what they're telling the rest of Canada is that it's just a complete, complete mess here, and there's, white supremacist flags and whatnot. Well, I did a TikTok today, and you can look across, it's a bunch of Canadian flags. Since when's that a white supremacist flag?
Well, like, yeah, what they were talking about was like the Confederate flags from like some of the U.S. truckers that went up there. You know what I mean? And like, all right, in the U.S., like, I'll be honest, in the U.S., like a lot of people have no idea like what any of this is. Like we have different regions, right? Like a north to south, to east to west, like the Midwest, all that type of stuff. Well, in the South,
like
it's just,
really.
yeah, it's just a flag of, the South. And there's a bunch of guys in the North who fly it too. Most of them are kind of just like redneck individuals as far as stuff's really concerned, but it's not like a white supremacist thing because it's really a working class type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's you watch Dukes of Hazzard as a kid, right? That's where I remember that flag from the most was on top of the General Lee. Like the car, like the flag.
Yeah. And it was an orange car, built in Detroit by a whole bunch of black guys,
Well,
believe it or not, if you want to hear something crazy, Kenosha, Wisconsin, where all that stuff happened, right, actually used to be one of the Chrysler plants that built the motors for those cars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I don't know what your media is portraying this as, but our media is like, just making a ton of crap up that's like not even close to what's going on. I got people calling me from home like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" Well, all the stuff that's going on there. I said, like, we're literally shoveling the sidewalks and giving food to the homeless because there's so much food coming in the truck. And I seen a homeless vet. I walked over and give him a bunch of food because he looked like he needed it more than me at the time, and I got enough to eat in the truck, and he looked like he could use something to eat. Like, it's just, our media is totally covering up what's really going on and making us look like a bunch of just like the complete opposite of what it is.
Well, I did a video on last Sunday night. I did a video after like all this started. I think it was Thursday of not this week, just past week before that, right? And so I did a video on Sunday where I sat through and I went through like all of the major media sources in America, like ABC, CNN, MSNBC, PBS, Fox, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, right? And there was only one mention of the entire thing in any of the media, in any like completely. Like there was nothing. It was a straight media blackout. And then like as soon as it became like a big enough thing to where like they couldn't not cover it anymore, it went into, like, oh man, these guys are defacing statues. And I don't know where like that story about like the tomb of the unknown soldier or whatever it was. I don't know what that's about. I haven't heard anything like. Because like all I heard was like it got defaced and then that's it, like nothing else, right? Because I heard about the guy who crossed Canada on one leg or whatever it was. He was a veteran who lost his leg and then died of cancer.
Fox.
Terry Fox, yeah. I heard about that, and I heard all that happened was.
Cancer,
I'm gonna tell you exactly the story I heard that happened from a guy named Paulie, who's a trucker up there too. He said that all they did was put a Canadian flag over his shoulder and a Canadian hat on him. And then they said that they defaced the statue.
Yeah, like, it's like anything you hear from our media, you're going to expect the opposite of what it is. Like, it's unbelievable the BS that they're spewing. They're trying so hard to discredit this movement that they're throwing anything they can to try to smear, right?
Yeah, like I'd absolutely believe that. Like Justin Trudeau, came out and tried to like get all divisive about things. So there was a report I just heard today that Sikhs have joined your movement up there. Have you heard anything
Oh,
about that?
they were here right from the beginning. Yeah, they were here right from the beginning. They were here before the rest of the West Convoy even got here.
Like, what's the Sikhs part in this? Because I'm actually like, I have a bunch of friends who are Sikhs, like around here in my neck of the woods. You know, I went to high school with. Like, what are they doing up there?
Just like the rest of us. They're here holding the line. They're here waiting. We're not moving until the mandates are done.
Are they in trucks
They're doing
too?
the same thing that yeah.
Okay, got you. Yeah, because I know a bunch of them.
I
They own
haven't really
businesses.
left the truck a whole lot.
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't went and seen any of them, but I have seen videos of them here, and I've seen those videos when we were still coming this way. So they are here.
Yeah. Like, I've always liked the Sikhs. They're awesome individuals. I know, like, a lot of them are business owners around here. Like, the one guy I went to high school with, he owns a gas station and a trucking company. He has, like, 4 trucks that he runs. You know, he's offered me jobs and stuff. Great guy. His name's Sergi, I think is his name. Something along these type of lines. But, yeah. So, all right, the GoFundMe thing, like, are they releasing that money to y'all, or is it just going to get, are they saying it's getting diverted? Like, what's going on?
Like, as far as I know, like, they're sending emails out to those who donated and that they're getting their money back within 7 to 10 days. And, basically, they're just giving it all back because of what we're portrayed as. And, like, it's pretty much, it's like, the biggest organized theft. Well, not even theft. It's like they're giving it back. They're not letting it go to what it was supposed to go to. Like a lot of these guys out here, like we're trying to fund our trucks ourselves because we all feel that money should go to the vets. And of course, there's going to be guys that are going to need, funds out of that. But a lot of us are trying to fund it on our own so that like our portion that say if we turned our receipts in, that's pretty much what we'd be giving to the vets because we're trying to fund it in other ways. Like I got people helping me from home to pay my way so that I don't have to touch that because I feel that we've really let our vets down in the last 2 years, and that money should go to them because when the government was approached about funding for the vets, all of a sudden you're asking for more than we can give. Well, these guys went and fought so the country is free. Like, you're asking more than we can give. Well, those guys put their lives on the line. Like, it's sickening. Like, it's absolutely sickening.
Yeah, I mean, like, did you guys file as a 501c? I don't know what it is up there in Canada. Did you guys file as a charity up there? Like,
Well, yeah, they filed it. They have lawyers and accountants working, and they filed all the paperwork for a non-profit, and then all of a sudden, GoFundMe labeled us as like a terrorist group, which is far from what anything is. They're like none of this group is violent in any way. It's like they're grasping at every straw to derail this movement.
Well, of course, that's what the media does. And that's what your government does,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because the reports out of your country's media and out of like the polls and things of this nature say that like something like 70 or 80% of your country supports, you know what I'm saying, like vaccination and like supports, the mandates, right? Like, I don't know how that's true in that liberal of a country, you know what I mean? But like, I'm not absolutely sure, right? Like, what exactly is going on up there in
what
Canada?
I'm getting from talking to people is everybody just wants to make the choice for themselves. Like, this whole movement's like for freedom of choice. Like, if you want to go wear a mask, go wear a mask. If you want to stand 6 feet away, stand 6 feet away. Stand 10 feet away. Stand right beside me. Make your own choices.
Yeah, I would tend to like I agree with you.
From the public.
I'm not anti-vax, but on the same point, like I'm not gonna make my kids get vaxxed, and I'm not getting vaxxed myself. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, if you feel you need to do something, do it. If not, don't do it. that's where what I'm getting from most of the people I'm talking to, and they're saying that this is just a small minority. Well, when I'm talking to the people coming up to the truck, like I get flipped off by the odd one because, I mean, it is what it is. It's a free country. You're entitled to your opinion, and it's not the first time I've been flipped off in a big truck, so it doesn't hurt my feelings.
Huh. I had a guy flip me off yesterday when I was working, pulled in front and cut me off and pulled in front of me.
It's not like I haven't seen it before.
Yeah, it's normal, right? But I mean, like
you're
in
if
this.
They feel that way,
like have y'all had any pushback?
If they feel that way, they can feel that way.
Like, have y'all had pushback from people in Ottawa?
Not so much. Like the police and whatnot are cooperating thus far. There was I believe it was the chief of police or someone high up in the Ottawa Police Service was saying that they're ready to shut this down and this is enough. And like there's a video on it that I seen and tweets on it, but like seems like most of the officers are kind of supporting what's going on. But he basically said anybody who shows support to this movement is going to be under review, and he rose a big stink about it, right?
Of course, right. Like it's really getting to the point where it's Orwellian. Like it's at 1984. Like you don't have the proper thought speak at this point. They did the same thing here.
Like I even did this. Like there's a lady that was directing traffic out front, and the city of Ottawa where I'm parked, they had to get some big trucks through. Like their sewer service trucks. I don't know what they were. They were like box trucks, right?
Right.
And one was able to drive around me, no problem. The other one was having trouble getting around me. So I rolled the window down. I'm like, "Do you want me just to back up and he can get through here? Like we're not complete like jerks. Like he's got a job to do. Like go do it. I'll back up, get out of your way. I'll park back where I was. Not a big deal." And she was very friendly. "Oh, you do that? Oh, why wouldn't I? I'm not here to really." To make everybody's life difficult. I'm here to make a point that like we got to end these mandates, but I still care about the guys that are working, right?
Yeah, because we're working men as we are. Like that's.
Yeah, we're not here protesting the residents and whatnot, and they need to get their services done. We're here to protest the government.
I mean, so like, has there been like an official list of demands?
Well, all our demands are end the mandates and we'll go home and go back to work. And they won't even, like, basically they just resort to name calling and saying that, basically we're a small fringe minority and that's all they've said to us. Yeah. I know there is lawyers involved and whatnot, and of course I don't really see that from where I'm at. I come here and I'm holding a line and I'm standing in protest, and that there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I won't know about, right? I might find out about it after, but I don't need to know about it. I'm here to do what I'm doing, right?
Right, like 100%. Now, somebody told me that like you were part of like the original organizational structure of this, like you were one of like the founders of this.
I got on board fairly early in it. Like I got on board when it was just slow rolls around the city, and then it kind of manifested into we're going to Ottawa. When I heard that, I'm like, well, I'm 100% in. Let's go.
Gotcha. Right. I mean, like, yeah. So, like, how long are y'all able to hold out up there? And here's a real question. This is the big question everybody wants to know. How many trucks are there?
I can't even give that number, but it's way more than they're saying.
Well, like, do you have a roundabout?
All over the city.
Like a roundabout number?
I'd say it's over 10,000.
Okay.
Well over 10,000.
Gotcha. Right. I mean, because like there's really huge conflicting reports, right? Because like the first day.
Yeah, like I've walked the streets here, like kind of in the like a big area, and it's just everywhere. Look, truck, 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 truck.
Yeah.
You know, you can't even. I could do a TikTok and I wouldn't be able to get to the end of a line of trucks, and that's 3 minutes of walking.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, because like, all right, so the first day, the word was it was 47 miles long, right? And then, you know, like there were conflicting reports somewhere between 50,000 and 10,000. You know what I mean? Then like people were like, oh, there's like hundreds. And like, I have no idea, like, because again, the news isn't actually like doing its job, right?
And there's more coming and more coming and more coming. Like, I'm sure if I was able to talk to the organizers and get a number, I'm sure it would be well over 10,000. But there's at least 10,000.
Gotcha. Right.
Like, yeah. There's tractors here. There's like the farmers that come out. Like, it's not small.
Yeah. Like, this is one of the biggest movements that's ever happened, right? In North America. Yeah. Like, short of civil rights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the reason that we're all split up and whatnot is, well, it makes it easier for them to control, but it also paints a picture that it's not as big as it is.
Well, like yeah.
At one point, our CBC said there's like 250 people here. Well, when I went and walked through the crowd, I even made the comment on a TikTok that, yeah, 250? Yeah, right. There's literally shoulder to shoulder for like blocks. So there, at any given time, like during the week, the crowds were smaller, but there wasn't 250. It was at minimum probably 5,000 during a weekday. That's when everybody's at work, and then the weekend here, like when I walked down there had to have been, wow, 100,000 minimum. It's hard to judge on the size of the crowd, but like it wasn't hundreds. It was tens of thousands of people.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't know a whole lot about how Canadians feel about things because, like, every time I run into them, it's on the internet, right? And so, like, it's going to be a nerd. It's going to be somebody who's college educated. You know what I mean? So, like, it's not the average person, right? But every time I talk to, like, an average Canadian, like somebody more like me or you who works for a living and, you know what I mean, isn't some guy who sits in an office chair and fluorescent lights all day, like, you know, they're more like me than they are, you know what I mean, like the, you know, like New Yorkers or San Franciscan people here in America. And, you know what I mean, like, so I'm not really sure exactly how y'all really are, like what the deal really is, because, like, I don't know how Justin Trudeau is still the prime minister, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, neither do I, and I live here.
like
to be quite honest, like, I don't know how he's the prime minister when, like, put it this way. If you go on Amazon, the black flags that have his name on it with a certain word over top of them,
right?
That's number 6 on the top sellers.
Yeah.
So to get number 6 on that, you're selling a lot of that product.
Yeah, we're probably going to do
whether some people flipped.
Yo, it's a possibility.
Some of them might have voted for him and flipped at this point, but still, that's like, you don't get in the top 10 of Amazon's top sellers without selling them in the millions.
I mean, like, all right, so I mean, here's y'all just had an election too, like last year, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah, so like, and it's not even like that much time has passed when it really comes down to it. Like, we're going to be doing a meme contest over on my channel, you know what I mean, trying to, like, bring it through the community or whatever, you know what I mean, trying to, like, meme Justin Trudeau, right, like, do some meme magic.
There's a few of them out there.
Oh, yeah. I made up a bunch of them myself, right, but, like, we're going to try and, you know what I mean, meme Justin Trudeau, you know what I mean, like, into, you know what I mean, like, obsolescence as far as things is really concerned. But, like, yeah, so, all right. I mean, I'm not really sure, you know what I'm saying, where exactly to go with this next. I mean, because the big story right now is the GoFundMe thing. And if, like, GoFundMe is
Yeah.
refunding everybody's stuff and y'all are a legal charity, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I heard something. I don't know. Maybe you can confirm this. Governor in Florida is something about a lawsuit with GoFundMe about this.
and Texas,
Is that
too.
it? Do you have any?
And Texas,
do you have-
too. Texas and Florida are both, you know what I'm saying, like doing special investigations and prosecutions of GoFundMe for this. Right. I mean,
Yeah, like
legally,
I'm thinking they realized they made a huge mistake at this point.
like legally, I mean,
Like-
in the United States, we have what's known as Citizens United, right? And Citizens United is something that we all hate, like with a massive passion. Like all of us hate it so much because it's the law that allows the massive amounts of money to go to politicians in our country, right? But the law is by the Supreme Court that money is considered free speech, right? And legally, like it's considered that, you know, like money is like for like you can't discriminate when it comes down to donations for charities and politics. Is kind of where it's at in the United States, like legally. You're not allowed to do that. And so GoFundMe, I think, is breaking a, you know, I mean, Supreme Court decision by doing this in the United States.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like I don't know, like whoever had the plan in that to you know, cancel that and whatnot, like for them to flip overnight to everybody has to request a refund to like, oh, we'll just give it back. Like that tells me somebody went like, oh my God, we screwed up. We gotta fix this. We gotta cover this somehow so that, you know, it doesn't look bad on us. But there's still, you know, it could have cost them a lot, like I said, with the surcharges and whatnot. So like, there's obviously a financial part to it, but they're still losing out whatever their take on, because they take a certain percentage of that, right?
Yeah.
So they're losing that, but that's a lot less than, you know, paying, you know, millions and millions of dollars in surcharges, because these people request their money back through their cards and their bank, right?
Yep. I mean, to be honest with you, like, I think what y'all should have done and what you should do, like, at this moment is, you know what I mean, kind of move more towards crypto. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's, like, completely unstable and, you know, it's not completely, you know, like, secure, but on the same point it is, and it's decentralized, right? Like, if you had, like, say, like, I don't know, like a Coinbase account or, you know what I mean, like a crypto wallet where everybody could just donate to, I think that would be a much better way of going about things than going through like one of these big places, you know what I mean, like GoFundMe or PayPal. Like, because I'll be honest with you, 3 or 4 years ago, I did a video about Ethan Ralph having his PayPal taken away. And this is something that's happened for like a long time. That like legally what the rule is that if you violate any types of terms of service on any other social platform, they will take away, they have every right to take away your PayPal, right? And like just basically just, you know, I mean, dissolve your funds and like just absorb them and they won't give it back to you. And this is, you know, I mean, like one of the things that, you know, we've been going through for a while, and especially like my neck of the woods on the internet. I think it's something that, you know, y'all, I don't know, like y'all might want to consider like moving towards something like a blockchain thing, like a crypto type of situation, because like using these big social media platforms, I understand that like, you know, like a whole bunch of people is going to see this and understand what's going on. But the truth is like long term, you know what I mean, it always just ends up reverting back to normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
unfortunately, like that's not my call to make.
I know,
but I know
like,
they do have like a team of accountants and whatnot, and I mean they'll
if you
take
talk to
advice
them,
of them.
like if you have a chance to talk to them, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be honest, like when we're done with this, you know what I mean, I'm gonna upload it and I'm gonna send it to you, you know what I mean? You can, you know what I mean, put it out to like everybody up there who's watching your stuff and checking out your stuff. You know, like I'll be honest, like you should probably share that with, you know what I mean, whoever you got the ear of up there, you know what I mean? Like, cause I'll be, like, I'm not a huge crypto guy. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I like to make money, you know, like, hey, look, I made a lot of money off of crypto, but, you know, like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of it as far as long-term is concerned, but like right now might not be a bad idea, right? For y'all to move towards something that they can't touch.
Yeah, I'm thinking what they're doing, like with that give, send, go, and like what the idea was. It's easy for people to donate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they just go there and they give their credit card or they e-transfer to them or whatnot. I think it's ease for the person that's donating.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. Like when
they do make it easy.
Yeah, when we're done here, you know, you can send me that information. I'll make sure I put it in the description. You know what I mean, for like the new way of donating to y'all and helping y'all out, because everybody down here wants to support you, you know, like we all do. You're standing up for all of us. It's not just you, you know what I mean? It's not just Canadians. It's all of us low-level workers across the world.
Worldwide. Like this is way, way bigger than I ever thought it would be. I knew it was going to be big, but I didn't think it was going to be a global thing.
Well, we've done, like, believe it or not, Americans have done this before, right? But we just didn't stay, right? Like, you know, we've driven up, you know what I mean, in our trucks to D.C., and, you know, we shut things down for a day or so. And, you know, it made Congress move. It makes politicians move a show of force. And usually we do it when there's some big new thing with the FMCSA, and, you know, like we get things adjusted and have our way of arguing. And like we use the Teamsters and OIDA. I don't know. Do you have OIDA up there? OOIDA?
I don't think so. I've never heard of it up here. No.
That's it's the Organization of Independent Drivers Associations, right? It's basically like it's like the
we have like your trucking associations, but they're talking about a Canadian Trucking Alliance.
Yeah.
And like none of us really have ever heard of that. So like what they say to that, like nobody knows what it is. So like how do they have a say if they stand for it or not? It really doesn't matter to us because none of us know what it is. We never heard of it.
Yeah, I feel you.
I've never been approached to join it. This is the first time I ever heard of it.
Well, like a lot of us hate the unions and things of this nature for work purposes, but they're great when it comes to dealing with the government. You know, like it's kind of like the NRA with guns. Like we hate the NRA, like as an in general thing, because nobody likes Wayne LaPierre or Charlton Heston down here. But on the same point, like God, there's no one else holding the line. Like when it comes down to like being organized and having like the strength and money to deal with government and lobby on the same level that, you know, like these big corporations and insurance companies do. Like you have to have like these organizations in order to fight against the government. You know what I mean? Like you have to have a block of voters going, no, you know, and that moves them because they know that like numbers is power, just how that operates, you know?
Yeah, like I know back home in Saskatchewan, we have like the Saskatchewan Trucking Association, and they stand up for, you know, the stuff provincially. But I've never heard of the Canadian Trucking Alliance. Ever.
Yeah, I haven't either. You know what I mean? Like, I've never heard of the CTA before.
And I've been in the industry 20 years. So you'd think at some point in 20 years I would have heard of these guys.
Yeah, I've been driving for 10, you know what I mean? And I'll be honest, like, I used to go to the border on a regular basis to go pick up and drop off loads up there by, Montreal, up on the other side of Montreal in New York.
Yeah.
And like I've never heard of, you know what I mean, like the Canadian Trucking Alliance, and you would have figured like they would have had posters or something out, because like around here, like all the trucking associations, they'll have like billboards or posters like up in the rails or, you know what I mean, like outside of yards, things of this nature, you know what I mean, trying to get like independent operators to join them and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, man, I'll tell you what, man, we're all proud of y'all up there. You know, I mean, I want you to know that, like, all of us are down. We're like, this is the first time ever I'm gonna tell a Canadian I'm proud of y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, as a Canadian, we're usually pretty laid back and whatnot, and to get a bunch of us to drive across the country to protest the government, you know, they wronged us in ways, right?
Yeah, I'm
And
familiar.
no joke intended there. But I mean, essentially, like it's like, look how much we say sorry, right?
Yeah. I mean, we as Americans just quit. You know what I mean? Like, that's why, like, we're having all the problems at the ports. We just quit. Because, like, those ports are in California and they have all those mandates. And everybody just left. They were like, we don't, like, go fuck yourselves. You know, that's what we said. And everybody just stopped driving.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, now nobody's getting their goods. Right. And, you know, like, people are like, oh, they're trying to, like, starve us out. It's not true. Like, they're incompetent. But the rest of us haven't had any of this stuff
That's not
pushed
what
on
we're
us.
trying to do here either. We don't want anybody to starve or nothing, but we want Canadians to live the free life that we were living, right? We don't want to be told you can't go to work unless you do this. Well, like, and they're saying like supply chain crisis. Well, this crap's been going on for 2 years. If it was a crisis because of the trucks and the drivers and whatnot, it would have reared its head when it first all come about, and we lost our support system on the road. We couldn't shower, with no place to shower. We had no place to eat. We had no place to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You had no place to wash your hands.
I was
It would have
on
reared
the same
itself
level.
way back when.
Yeah, I was on the road at that point too. I was out running, you know, I mean, the Midwest when all that happened. Like, yeah, and like there was no place to eat, there was no showers, there was nothing. Like you were just stuck in your truck, and it was terrible. It was like the most awful stuff ever. Like you were lucky you can get a bag of chips,
Yeah,
and,
like,
you know, what I mean, a drink.
Yeah, like I run the ice roads, and I left, and everything was normal. And then when I'm coming back, it's like, well, when I'm up there, all of a sudden I'm getting phone calls like, oh, everybody's hoard buying toilet paper. I'm like, well, that doesn't even make sense, because if you don't buy groceries, you don't need toilet paper. And if you don't need toilet paper, you're not living anymore, because basically, if you don't eat, you don't shit. If you don't shit, you die.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of other options to use besides toilet paper.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. Like, I actually have this video from Bosnia, right? Like a guy who like survived through Bosnia, telling his story about like all the stuff that happened. And this Bosnian, he said like the two things that really would have made a major difference was toilet paper and paper plates, right? Because like it just caused massive amounts of infections and just disease. Right, because of the fact that they literally like just had nothing to clean themselves with, and no way to be able to like clean dishes, you know what I mean, or anything along these type of lines. So it's crazy how toiletries end up, you know what I mean, being like a massive importance when you don't know whether or not you're able to leave your house again. Like it's a strange thing.
But in just about every room where there's a toilet, there's a shower or a bathtub. I mean.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's at one point, you know, used the toilet and looked over and went, oh, empty roll. Oh, I don't have any. And you do the shower of shame, because what else do you do, right?
I got you. Yeah. I mean, but like, again, like they actually ran out of clean water and the whole nine, you know, like nobody knew what was going to happen. Like people.
That I understand. Clean water, okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, literally, if you had to, I mean, there's plenty other ways to clean yourself after using a toilet versus toilet paper.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, as an American, right? Like when I saw all the toilet paper was gone, I went and bought like 1,000 rounds of ammunition, right? You know, I was like, well, maybe things are going to get ugly.
What's coming next, right?
Like, yeah, maybe I should get ahead of the game instead of being behind it. We made a lot of money that year. It was ridiculous. But yeah, man. So,
well, I couldn't believe, like, well, I heard that while I was up on the ice road, and then on the way back, I drove 1,965 kilometers, which I don't know how far that is in miles, but it's a long ways. With no place to stop, wash my hands, no place to grab a hot meal, no place to use the washroom, relying on a 2-day-old bag lunch that I packed before I left Yellowknife to come back to home, right?
Yeah.
And like that, I mean, you know how that feels. That's a rather uncomfortable situation to be in, and you know, like I'm sure that our prime minister has never experienced that, and it's a very unpleasant experience. And we worked in that for months, and when we did finally get like porta potties and whatnot, they weren't really cleaned or whatnot. So, you know, if there was going to be a supply chain issue because of the trucks and whatnot, they would have reared its head very early, because a lot of guys would have just went, you know what, I can't do this, right?
Yeah.
Because you yourself are a driver. I mean, it was tough.
Yeah, it was
But
real
we
difficult.
kept going.
Well, you have to do what you have to do. Like, you know, I had money to make. I got kids to feed. You know, I personally, I have 7 kids. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so like, like I got bills to pay. You know, I can't stop working. You know,
you make do with what you got going on, and I mean, we've worked through this whole pandemic this whole time, and then all of a sudden now there's a supply chain crisis. And it's because of the trucks and whatnot. Oh no, it's because of these stupid mandates that they put down on us. Like, you got to go do this across the border. Now they're even talking about doing it interprovincially in Canada here. Well, I mean, our charter rights say that we can travel throughout our country freely. Well, if you gotta go take a vaccine to cross a provincial border, well, I can no longer travel freely as a Canadian. So now you have infringed on my charter rights.
yeah, like
this is all to do with government overreach. Like, just let people live their lives. Like, let guys make their decisions, or guys and girls. Sorry, let people make their decisions. Because I'm not gonna look at somebody differently for wearing a mask. Like, I'm scared of spiders myself, which is an irrational fear. I don't like being sick, just like you don't like being sick. And the thing is, you do what you do to what it takes to protect yourself. You know, if you feel you have to wear a mask, or you have to get a vaccine, or you have to stand 10 feet away, you do you. I'll do me. I'll look after myself. You look after you.
Yeah. I completely agree with you.
Does that make sense?
You know, I mean, like, if you're terrified and you're scared and you're a germaphobe and all that type of stuff, you know, I mean, like, you know,
I get it.
wear a mask, get the vaccine, do all the stuff you're supposed to do. But let's be perfectly honest here. You know, this is going to keep changing, and it's going to be like the flu every year, where a new variant comes through and they have to create, you know what I mean, a new vaccine, or, you know what I mean, whatever it is, just like they do with the flu every year. And if you ever got the flu vaccine, you know, like, it gives you a cold for, like, you know, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've never went and got a flu shot, nor do I ever see myself in the future. Maybe when I'm like 65 years old, okay, maybe it makes sense for me then. But right now, at my age, I've made it this far in my life with just my immune system. I'll just let my immune system take care of me like it should, right?
Yeah. I mean, one day when I'm old, you know what I mean, I'm 65, you know what I mean, if I make it that far, you know what I mean, God willing, right? If one day when I'm 65, 70 years old, you know, and I need to go and get, you know what I mean, a flu vaccine because I'm vulnerable, I will do this. And that's what should have happened from the start.
Yeah.
What should have happened from the start was they should have said...
I agree 100%.
They should have said, everybody who's vulnerable, you stay in your house. And, like, if you live with somebody who is vulnerable, you know, like, maybe we might need to have a conversation about housing them in a hospital somewhere, something along these type of lines, where we can, you know, put them away from the general population until this got over with, right? But we didn't have that conversation. What we had the conversation is like, oh man, everybody's got to suffer, everybody got to go through this, the entire country, and it was completely ridiculous and had no bearing in just reality and how things are supposed to work. You know what I mean?
Well, all these mandates have done more harm than they've done good. Like, I know people that have lost their jobs and their mental health has declined, and I know families that have split up. I know friendships that have split up. They've done more harm by locking everybody down and keeping everybody away from everybody else than they've done good.
Well, like, I'll be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like 100,000, like 100,000 Americans this year have died of an overdose, right? From either fentanyl or opiates
Oh,
or whatever it is, right? And I'm an Appalachian, right? I'm from the mountains, on the East Coast. Like it's something like 70% of those people were us, right? And like it's destroyed my area, my community, my people, and it's just doing nothing but harm to us. Like all of this stuff that's going on because you're socially
oh,
isolating individuals away from each other.
yeah, it's divided everybody, and now it's there's a lot of people that are say anti-vax or pro-vax, and they can't they got to argue with each other. Well, here I am in the middle going, okay, you don't want to get it, you don't get it. You want to get it, you go get it. And it's created a division. It's just created all these mandates. It just created more problems than they've solved.
Well, this is like this is we follow a guy named Curtis Yarvin, aka Mencius Mobug, where I come from, and he's a neo-reactionist thought leader, and like on the internet. And one of the things that he said here recently is kind of profound. He said that basically what we did is in the Woodrow Wilson presidency and FDR presidency, we brought in what was known as scientific government. Basically, it's like if you have a problem, you go ask the experts in a university about that problem, and then they tell the government what to do, right? And the issue is that when you have like a problem with a virus or virology or a pandemic thing, you go and ask experts at a university. And the problem is that individuals who say like, oh man, like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this much stuff, they're seen as traitors because of the fact that like they're saying this isn't something that you can really control, or this isn't something that like you shouldn't take action on, right? Because it's the ideas that you take action on that are going to be something that you're going to push forward more often, right? It's like the climate scientists. Like there's a whole lot of people who are like lukewarm. It's like, yeah, it's an issue, but we got bigger fish to fry, right? And when it comes down to like science and like who gets the grants and who's like writing proposals or whatever it is, those people who say that it's catastrophic are going to be the loudest voices and are going to be the people who gets pushed forward. And then the individuals who say like it's not that big of a problem are going to be the individuals who are pushed back, right? And they're going to be seen as traitors because they're not being a team player, right? And they're not like making this into like as big of a deal as like what everybody else is. And that's kind of what's going on,
Yeah.
with like all of this is that we've allowed these bureaucrats, to sit here and just spout off as crazy ideas as they can so that they can be put into power to solve these problems that they're creating in the populace as an in general thing.
Well, and if somebody's going to claim to be an expert in the field, they should have schooling in that field. Like I know there's some experts that are experts in this field, but they have no schooling on that field.
Well, no,
Right?
all these people have schooling on this field, right? But again, the issue is that like when you ask them like what do we do, it's going to be something that's very actionable because like it's something that will give them more power, will give them more shine, will give them more money from the government, more grants, things of this nature, right? So it's going to breed more and more and more, like action, more powerful ideas.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of going like, man, listen, we can't control this. You just got to, let this burn it out. Like that person isn't going to be heard from, because he's not being a team player. And on top of that, with the media getting the majority of their funding from sensational stories, you end up having these people push forward on like these clickbait, type of stories and these headlines that grab people's eyes and attention because either A, it scares them, or B, it's something that is going to be very divisive between the population.
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of gets down to, you know what I mean? And this is what we cover on my channel. We
like
cover power dynamics and economics and things of this nature.
Well, like another thing I've noticed is the advertising on this. Like it's been going on for 2 years now. I think we don't need to, spend billions of dollars advertising. I think everybody knows what's going on, right? So why are we still advertising it when everybody knows what to do. Okay, if something new comes out, well, let us know, right?
But, no. You got to remember.
We've got a $1 billion advertising campaign on it too.
Well, you have to remember, right? Like, so this is one that came from, like, you ever heard of a guy named Doug Stanhope?
No, I haven't.
He's a comedian, really funny guy. Check him out. This guy, he said, when they came out with the new $20 bills way back, when it, like the bigger face ones, remember they used to have like a littler face ones, and now it's really they're all really big, the American money. Well, they had excess money left over. So what they did is they took like $30 million and advertised the new $20 bills, right? Even though there was no competition of somebody spending some other money. Americans weren't going to go spend pesos.
$20 bucks.
No one was going to go spend bolivares. You know what I mean? They weren't going to go spend Russian rubles. Like, it was never going to happen, right? But they had that excess money and they had to spend it. And if they didn't spend it, then that money went away. That's where all this comes from. You know what I mean? That's how government works. Like, if you don't spend like your entire nut, you know what I mean? Then like you don't get that nut next year. Got to remember
Fair
how
enough.
government works.
But they say the healthcare field, needs more help, whatnot. Like they could have took, well, especially even you look at our election, a $600 million election in the middle of a pandemic. Wouldn't that have been more useful in healthcare, along with maybe some of them advertising funds? We don't need to see the advertisements every 10 minutes on TV. Like, we get it, guys. It's here. Well, that's a lot of money that could have been useful in other parts. Like if there's a problem with healthcare, well, let's push the money into healthcare.
Well, here's the problem.
Back on the advertising about it, because they know it.
America did that, right? Like, and that it turned out very badly that when we did this, right? Basically, for every case of, you know what I'm saying, COVID that like they diagnosed, they got $3,000, right? Or like every death was $3,000 extra for that case, right? And so like they just started testing everybody. Right, like no matter like how they died, like people got shot, people got ran over by cars, motorcycle accidents, right? And they all got labeled as COVID death because it was an extra $3,000. They're not really good at the governments are not good at things. Like, you have to remember that they're really bad at their job. They're just like, we need more nurses, but like nurses are being laid off all over the country and stuff, right? The reason why they want more nurses is so that they can drive down wages. That's it. You know, I mean, it's the same reason they go, we have a giant trucker shortage, like 500,000 or a million or 2 million truck drivers or whatever it is. No, they don't. They just have a problem with the pay, right? Because literally we make less money right now than our dads did back in like the 1980s or, you know what I mean, or 1970s. Like, that's the issue.
Yeah, and their cost of living is so much higher.
Yeah. Your house now costs $400,000 on average, right? But like, your pay is only going up $30,000. Like, this is not how this operates. You know what I mean? Like, it's not how this works. We need more money, and they don't want to pay more money because like then it would crash the entire economy, and these companies couldn't operate off that 1%, profit margin that they run off of. These giant companies like Swift or CR England or CRST or JB Hunt, right, who will take a load below the cost just to keep it out of the hands of an owner-operator, right, so that they can just have throughput, and then pay their drivers less than, they're really worth. I actually got a check from Swift last year because they paid me less than minimum wage when I first started driving back in like 2012.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, that's how this operates. Like, it's a whole different animal. Like, when you really start examining like how all this stuff works. But anyway, man, all right, it's been about 50 minutes.
I've never been really political, so I just look at the way things are going. I would maybe do it a little different, and I'm sure there's lots of people out there that are looking at it the same way as I am. It seems there's a lot of problems created by stuff that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. Like 100%.
If you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, like, again, you just have to remember that like governments are really bad at what they do. Right? They're not good at like the majority of stuff.
If I'm bad at what I do, I get fired.
Yeah, they have unions. right, to protect them from getting fired. And you have to remember, like most of your elected officials, they really don't actually run things. They hand off all that authority and the stuff that they choose, like to vote on, to bureaucrats, right? And like nobody knows who these bureaucrats are, right? And these are the people who are actually running your government day to day. Like, have you ever noticed that, like, when the government gets shut down or whatever, like, we'll have shutdowns in America where, like, the government goes, oh, we didn't get a budget, so, like, everything's shut down now, right? And then, like, life doesn't change for everybody. It's because, like, the permanent, like, government is just continuing to operate the way it operates. It doesn't really matter. They're not really doing anything. We could run a cat as president and nothing would change.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Legit. Like, yo, we could literally like put a cat into the presidency, and I've been trying to push for like I want to elect a turtle, right, just to see what happens. just to see.
Put a pumpkin in the seat and see what happens.
Yeah, nothing would change, legit, because like the president doesn't do anything. He just he just stands there and like gives speeches about nonsense. Like he does literally nothing all the time. You know, he really doesn't run anything. Like, you could basically run the executive branch without him. Just reality of things. And all the Congress really does is, like...
Just the face.
Yeah. The Congress does nothing more than, like, stand here and vote on bills that other people write. Like, do you really think the congressmen are writing these 8,000-page bills?
Yeah, I heard there was quite a hefty one there in the States.
All of them are like that.
I mean, I have trouble reading through like a 300-page book, let alone 8,000 pages.
You got to control F the text documents. Like, that's what I usually do, right? You know what I mean? Like when they did the infrastructure bill, like I just hit control F on like 6 zeros and just seen how many different things came up. You know what I mean? To see how many times they spent $1 billion. Like, and that's, you know, that's how, you know what I mean? Like I went through and tried to figure out where all the money went. You know, because there's no way you're going to be able to read through 8,000 pages. Like, it's just not going to happen. You know, like, and they don't even know what's in it. They don't read anything. They're not really doing anything but voting the way.
There's no physical way that you could read through that and remember what you read at the start by the time you got to the end.
Yeah. It's all written by lawyers and staffers and whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, they're not actually running anything. Yeah. You know, like when it really comes down to it. You know, like that's how, like, do you really think, like, you know, when people talk about, like, they stole the election, that's like, the reality is that what they did is they took the people who you thought you were voting for and the positions you thought they were voting for. Like, you think, like, Biden or Trump was president in the way that FDR was president? No. It's a whole different presidency. It's a whole different position. Like, the Queen of England is still the queen, right? But really, she's just a classy Kardashian. She has no real power, right? And that's just the reality of things. Like, they've changed the way, like, the actual office works rather than, you know what I mean, like, changing, you know what I mean, the actual positions themselves. Like, that's really how, like, they do what they do. You know, that's how, like, the government does what it does because, like, they just don't want you to bother them. You know, so, like, just all this political nonsense is just garbage. They don't really care.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, yo, look, I'm gonna shut this down. I'm gonna get this interview uploaded, man. Thank you very much. You want to tell anybody like where they can find you?
There, but
no, it's fine. Like, this is what we do. You want to tell everybody where you can be found?
Well, yeah, I have my own Facebook page under my name. I don't really post a whole lot there, but being that I got a lot of time because I'm sitting in the truck doing this, I've started posting some stuff on TikTok, but it's really cold, and my phone doesn't want to stay charged while I'm walking around the cold, so they're pretty short videos, and a lot of it's from the truck because it's too cold to do it outside.
That's Mike Anderson, right?
Yes.
And what's your TikTok?
And, yeah, it's a pissed off trucker, but there's no E in trucker.
Okay. Right. So check him out on TikTok. Make sure, you know what I'm saying, go over, support him on the Facebook page. We're going to list the new funding method up there and put it in the description for anybody who wants to donate and help out. Thank you very much for your time, sir. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, you betcha. I enjoyed talking with you.
All right, sir. I'll tell you what. When I get this uploaded, you know, what I mean, I'll send you, you know, what I mean, a link for it and whatnot. You know, and like when you get, you know, what I mean, opportunity to like, you know, get back towards your neck of the woods and back in front of your regular computer at the house. You know, what I mean, like you can. There's always a link for the Discord in the description, and you can come and join. And you know, what I mean, we talk about stuff all the time that's kind of more intellectually deep than most people go to because, well, I'll be honest with you, I get bored with the red versus blue politics. You know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
I know what you're saying.
like I just like man, I'm not interested in kabuki theater. But anyway, thank you very much, sir. I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna holla at you later. It's really appreciated. All right.
You betcha.
And
Give me a holler anytime.
we're all really proud of you. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you so much.
Bye bye. All right, partners, you know what it is, man. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Yo, it is what it is. Join the Discord. Hit the links in the description. You know what I'm saying? Help fund the channel if you like this type of content and wanted to keep going. Peace be like Walmart brothers. Later.